And good afternoon, everyone. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor, and this is the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. If you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. We're recording now live till 5, and then we'll post it up on YouTube so you can come by and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, and that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page, where we're now featuring about 900 or so QSO-VLOG air checks. Also this afternoon we're running 4 Internet SDR receivers monitoring Rochester, New York, Atlanta, Georgia, Arlington, Virginia, and Milford, Pennsylvania, trying to get a better copy on our 100-watt friends. Now the audio from these 4 SDR receivers comes up on a 6-position rotary selector. Also on this selector is our local receiver audio. And today, our local receiver is running 2 large 10-foot vertical magnetic loop antennas, one aimed north and south, the other east and west. The north and south mag loop can be rotated. They are selected by a 3-position rotary selector. Position 3 of this selector is a co-phase option that many times is 3 to 4 dB hotter than mag loop 1 or 2 by themselves. We do use a lot of rotary selectors in our shack, mainly because there's nothing faster than a rotary switch for comparing multiple signals. And today we'll be running 2 separate transmit and receive radios. Our normal modified YAESU FT990 will be the transmit radio, and an ICOM 7300 will be our test receiver radio. The idea being that the 7300 has a lot newer digital receiver technology, so that's what we'll be evaluating. One of yesterday's great radios, the YAESU FT990, and an A/B test with the newer ICOM Digital 7300. Of course, this is just a sidewalk survey because they will not be sharing the same antenna. The 990 will be on a resonant no SWR dipole antenna, and the 7300 will be using our large twin 10-foot magnetic loop antennas with co-phase option. Also today, we'll be running our new visual input source indicator. So when we switch receivers from the 7300 to the 990, you'll be able to hear the switch and see the switch automatically. And since it is an input source indicator, you'll also be able to see which of the Internet SDR receivers I might be using at the moment. You'll have to check it out on our YouTube QSO-VLOG video, our new input source indicator. Well, those are our working conditions. How about yours? This is the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network, and now let's check in and see if Charlie K1GZL is on frequency to bring us up to date on the latest 40-meter band propagation. Charlie's QTH is up in northern New Hampshire, near the Canadian border. Charlie, got a copy?
Roger, Roger. There's a little bit of QRM on the low side of this, but solid. Absolutely solid, and it's a beautiful day. It's up to 1 degree below zero. We had a low of 12 below with wind blowing and cloudy this morning. Chill factor was close to 30 below zero. Yesterday we picked up 9 inches of new snow, which gives us 105 inches for the season. So propagation was good into Australia this morning. How do you copy, Ken? Which find the better of the reception? KC9VKV, K1GZL.
Roger, Charlie. Well, I'm pretty clear on my 7300 on the 10-foot magnetic loops, and also pretty clear on the local 990 using the dipole. So it seemed to be the SDRs that were catching a lot of the blow-by from a couple of KC lower than our frequency. But that's the name of the game. You pay your money, takes your chances. You know, all things are equal in love and war. Roger, Charlie.
Oh, yeah, Roger, and okay on copying on the 7300 on the magnetic loop. I'm curious, how do you like the quality of the 7300 compared to other receiving rigs you have? I'd be curious what you think of the 7300. fell in love with this SDR, not SDR, with this 7300 once I got it. This morning, asking about propagation, I did have a short contact with Ian, VK3MO, about 80 kilometers northwest of Melbourne, or 55 miles. And here's just a few seconds of Ian this morning from Australia, here on this 16th of January 2020. Here it is.
VK3 Mike off, Sydney, Melbourne, Australia. Ian, final round. Wish you all a very good day. It's been reasonably quiet here tonight, and signals are strong, so ideal situation. 73 up to you, Charlie North. TK 3MO now clear, and hope to catch you all tomorrow. No, but it's not too bad. Quite a bit of smoke earlier today, but it's cleared somewhat over.
Okay, and there he is. Back to you, Tim. KC9VKV, K1GZL.
Roger, Charlie. Well, I guess when I was checking out my local antennas, the guy 2K below was not transmitting. So I was catching blow-by everywhere. I finally had to go to Atlanta to try to minimize the situation. We wound up and are now on the Atlanta SDR. You're doing quite well down there. Now, Charlie, I want to pick your brain just for a minute. I want you to transpose yourself back in your life to when you were, say, 8 years old. Okay, now you're 8 years old, and your dad is, he's, I am assuming, a ham operator, and you are where, and what are you doing when your dad's on the radio, and what are you thinking?
Well, that's a good, pardon me. KC9VKV, K1GZL. When I was 8 years old, it was 1940, and I was living, of course, with my mother and dad. In fact, my grandfather and grandmother were living at the same QTH, and my dad had a very large map of the United States up on the wall, and he would get on the air. This is, of course, before World War II, and we used to talk with a dipole over into across the country, and this was generally on 10 meters. 10 was hot. Oh, was 10 meters hot in those days. Oh my gosh. And in fact, we even talked into Nazi Germany occasionally, and different parts of Europe, and the bands were open. But after that, of course, when you're 8 years old, life is just starting, and 1 year is 1/8 of your entire life, so time, of course, moves a lot slower than it does when you're 87 and a half, which I am at the present time. But I remember those days. My dad would, who was W2, Mike Uncle Peter, too much useless power, and we were in Elizabeth, New Jersey, and every time we would have a QSO with different parts of the United States circle on the U.S. map as to where we were talking, and eventually we filled up most of the map. So those were the days, and I was not a ham, of course, at that time. However, I did get my license in 1948 after flunking the theory in 1947. And back in those days, there were only 2 licenses. You either had a Class B or an A, but you couldn't get to Class A until you've been a Class Baker operator for at least 1 year. You had to be an operator for 1 year to get the Class A. Now, the Class A allowed you to get on 75 phones and 20 phones, whereas the Class B, you could not get on 75 phones or 20-meter phones. Then, of course, all the incentive licensings all started later and later and later. And now we have the present conditions we have at present, Jim. KC9VKV, K1GZL.
Roger, Charlie. Now, you do realize that you have a very unusual family situation, because usually I think I found that it skips a generation. That is, if your father's a ham operator, then your son will be a ham operator. It skips a generation. My grandfather was a ham operator before there was a license for ham operators, and my dad didn't have anything to do with ham radio. I don't think I knew he knew something about it, but he never said anything about it to me. And it was only my relationship later in life. Well, later, I was 6 years old when I first met my grandfather, and I had no idea what a ham radio operator was, and nor did I know that he had been. All I knew was that he had some very mysterious cardboard boxes full of things that I found very interesting. And every once in a while, he would go searching through those cardboard boxes for something, and I would be right there by his side and looking through that treasure chest of stuff. I had no idea what it was, but it sure looked interesting to me as a 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old kid. And, he always found something that he would give to me out of that treasure chest. And, gosh, I could play with that thing for 3 or 4 months, all the way up till the next time he had to go exploring in that cardboard box. Well, he had probably about 6 or 7 cardboard boxes, and what they were, was the end of his amateur radio career. He had all the things that he had saved along the way that he thought he would use, just like all of us good ham radio operators do. We, just store immense amounts of stuff. And I have started to use Rubber-made garbage cans, those 30-gallon jobbers. And I would just, usually about once a year, I would have enough to put in one of those and set it aside and, go to the next one. And now I have a deck. And underneath the deck, I have 10 of those rubber garbage cans full of stuff that I've been saving, And every once in a while, I'll find a need, and I'll go out there and go rummaging through. Those rubber garbage cans are just tremendous because they don't leak. And that's the neat part about it. They're underneath the deck, and the deck obviously is not a roof, so they're in the weather, so to speak, but they don't leak. And you open the tops, and it's just like being there for the first time. Back to you, Charlie.
Yeah, that's memorabilia. I can't get that word out. That brings back memories. If you can save some of the original parts that you had collected back in the very, very beginning. It just stimulates what happened. It becomes a part of your life and was a part of your life, and it's a lot to enjoy. And of course, my first outside of a brief farm job the year before, it was when I was operator over at W1AW, of course ARRL in Newington, Connecticut, and you have that story. That was something else. That was fascinating, and those days I will never forget, Jim, as long as I live. Absolutely. By the way, you're coming in 25 over 9 direct, and here you are.
Thank you. Those rubber garbage cans are just tremendous because they don't leak. And that's the neat part about it. They're underneath the deck, and the deck obviously is not a roof, so they're in the weather, so to speak. But
okay, back to you, Jim. Look, I don't want to hold it too long. You may have a lot of people trying to get in, and we'll certainly try to catch you next week at this time. We are expecting a fairly good snowstorm starting very late tomorrow afternoon or evening, and starting to taper off by mid-morning on Sunday. That could produce another probably 6 to 10 inches or so of snow. Then very cold again, and that stops the storms for a while. We should have a pretty good week, but it will be cold. cold. And boy, right now it's bitter out there, but the sun is beating down. It looks like it's about 40 out. However, it's 1 below 0 Fahrenheit. Wow. KC9VKV. It's always a pleasure, Jim. K1GZL. A member of... No, it's going back in time. As long as you have some other things to remember by, it's like yesterday. Go ahead.
Roger, Charlie, certainly is. And, you know, at the end, what do we have but left but memories? And those garbage cans, I'm sure they are sequential, you know, pretty much from, 10 years back. But the thing I found lacking in myself is the ability to properly label what's in those garbage cans because, you know, they're all different kinds of things. I guess I'll have to come along one time and separate everything and put like things in one garbage can and other like things in the other garbage cans, you know, just to keep them so I can find things easier than what it is now. Now I have to try to remember what year I was working on something that I might be able to find some of its remnants to use in another project. Well, Charlie, lots of luck on that incoming weather. I hope it's not too cold for you, Roger.
Well, today was pretty cold. Back in November, we had a day like this. It got up to 2 below 0. Then a tremendous warming trend in the first part of November. November produced 39 inches of snow totally that fell. Nothing in October. And I've never seen that before. Absolutely nothing. Not one flake did I see in October. And normally October you get about 10 or 15 inches. And yet we're up to 105 right now for the season. Okay, real fine, Jim. Your audio is absolutely marvelous. You can't do any better than the saturation point of 100%. And that, of course, you have achieved. So the very, very best, Jim, and we'll certainly catch you on next Friday, hopefully. KC9, Victor, King Victor, near Louisville, Kentucky, but in southern Indiana. K1GZL, we are clear. It's been great.
Charlie, thank you so much for joining in this afternoon. Always a pleasure. You just to help get us going so well. And we'll say threes to you up that way. Have a great afternoon and a beautiful weekend coming along. So this is KC9VKV. Just a reminder, this is the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. My name is Jim, KC9VKV, and I'm better known in some circles as Dr. VKV. And we're recording now live till 5, so if you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. We'll post this recording up on YouTube in the next couple of days. So when you go to YouTube, just do a call letter search for KC9VKV, and that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page. And on that page, you'll be looking for one QSO-VLOG entitled My Group Aircheck 1/17/20. Today's date, 1/17/20. My Group Aircheck. All right, this is KC9VKV. If you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout.
Whiskey 3, Golf Tango Radio.
Whiskey 3, Golf Tango Radio. Go ahead.
Good afternoon there, Jim. I've been on your show a few times now. This is Scott here up in Maryland. Whiskey 3, Golf Tango Radio. Running a new microphone today on my 7300, so I figured I'd get on your show and listen to it online later. I'm running a Heil ICM microphone on a boom arm with a foot switch. I do a few nets, and I needed to have hands-free operation for running the net, so this will be my first Heil on a boom. The other ones are desk stand mics. So I'm running a ICOM 7300 on with the Heil ICM mic, and I also built a new antenna. I'm coming to you on a double bazooka cut for 40 meters.
Roger, Scott. My Elmer is trying to convince me that I need a double bazooka, and I said, a double what? And what I want to do, and we had a shootout. I didn't even know it. I was just minding my own business, running barefoot, and he was too. And we were talking to this guy up towards New York or something, and my Elmer says, "What am I giving you?" And he said, "It looks like about a 10 over or so." And then he said, "What's this other guy giving you?" He said, "Oh, he's giving you about a 7." And so then, that's allegedly the difference between a regular dipole and, one of those antennas like you're running, the double bazooka, Roger?
Yeah, copy that, Roger, on that. I'm not sure if I'm convinced yet, but I'm trying it out. It took me about 4 or 5 times to build it. And now that I actually know how to build it, I could probably build another one much quicker. But I was kind of being really careful and anal about it, so I kept them starting over and over again until I got it right. I do have a 1-to-1 SWR on most of the section, which is what I cut it for. So anyway, I don't want to hold it too long today. I mainly just wanted to get on your show so I could hear my radio later on your YouTube channel. So I appreciate you picking me up. And I think I have the audio where I want it to be. So this is Whiskey 3, Golf Tango Radio. Back to you for your final.
Roger, Scott, I would just suggest if you pushed up the top just a little bit more, maybe 1 or 2 clicks, top NDQ, just to add a little more definition and edge to your audio. Roger?
Copy that. Well, I could do that while I'm talking to you, I suppose. I'm going to go into the EQ right now while I'm talking to you there. Tone control transmit, single sideband, treble, so I'll bump it up to 1. That's 1 more click on the treble side. What do you think about that from Whiskey 3, Golf Tango Radio?
I'm starting to hear a little bit of the syllabics. The first time through at the EQ there was very little S range, the S's, and so that last was, I could hear a little bit more, and probably maybe 1 more click would really help on that, but you have to be the judge, and so you can listen on YouTube and find out exactly what's going on. Roger?
Hi, Roger, on that. Well, I bumped it up 1 more, so when I played back on your show, I originally had it on the treble on 3. I moved it to 4 on the last transmission, and now it's on +5. So I guess we'll see how it sounds on the playback. I'm probably going to move it back to 3 for the moment. This is where I originally had it on +3 treble from Whiskey 3, Golf Tango Radio. Back to you there, Jim.
Yeah, I think you like the increased top end, but that's just my personal preference. I feel like, I had so much experience with UHF, VHF, and the cleanliness of those audio facilities. And then HF just seemed that there was no top end, no articulation. It was all kind of 1930s Mr. Bassman, and so I feel like I'm on a personal crusade to advance the articulation aspects of a ham radio. Roger.
Well, I appreciate that, and I also appreciate good audio. All right, I'll cast my 73s on you and let you move on with your show and pick up some other people. I've been on your show a few times now, so I don't want to hog it up. So we'll say 73s. It's always nice to talk to you, and I look forward to hearing you on the show. From Whiskey 3, Golf Tango Radio, back to Kilo Charlie 9 Victor, Kilo Victor. Have a good day in 73s.
Roger, Scott, what was your location again, please?
Right outside of Annapolis, Maryland. I'm in Maryland. Copy?
I had Mayor. I was on the way to writing it, and I ran out of time. Threes to you, Scott. Thanks for checking in. If you get a chance, visit our YouTube QSO-VLOG page. Just go to, obviously, you know the game, but I'll repeat it for those that don't. Go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. That will take you to our QSO-VLOG page, and on that page you will find one QSO which we are doing today, and it will be entitled My Group Aircheck 11720. 11720. This is KC9VKV, and today and for the next few weeks, we'll be conducting a sidewalk survey, an AB receiver test between our normal modified YAESU FT990 and a newer digitally influenced ICOM 7300. There will be a few anomalies, though. During the test, our 990 receiver will be running a resonant dipole with 0 reflected wave, and the 7300 will be running 2 co-phase 10-foot vertical magnetic loop antennas. All transmissions will be from our regular FT990. This is KC9VKV. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give us a shout.
November 3, Kilo Victor. Yankee.
There was a November 3 station. Come ahead.
November 3, Golf Kilo Victor.
November 3, Golf Kilo Victor. Go ahead.
Hey,
Very good, Jim. Name here is Bob. QTH is near Allentown, Pennsylvania. And I just wanted to kind of check. I have an FTDX 101D with a Electro Voice RE320 microphone. I just wanted to kind of check if we're running this thing at 50 to 3050. I didn't know if it would be better off at a 100 to a 2900 setting, or I guess maybe you can tell me whatever else might need adjustment. Back to you.
Roger, I recommend running 100 to 2900. It keeps your friends happy and your enemies from coming to look you up. So I run and recommend running 100 to 2900. So can you go to that mode and let me hear you on that mode?
Okay, I should be on that mode now. I was changing it while you were telling me that. Back to you.
All right, and let's tell me about your antenna system.
Okay, well, the antenna we're using right now is 130-foot end-fed. It's up about 33 feet. Some other antennas are a 40-meter dipole up around the same height, and butternut HF9V and a Mosley TA53M. So back to you.
Roger. Now, your EQ curve is very nice. You're full all the way down to the bottom, 100 cycles. The problem is, though, that, in HF radio, we have a thing called phase cancellation. And that is when all of our signals move by skywave. So in the eventuality that some of it is reflected at just a little later or early time than the majority of it, it starts coming down at a slightly different phase angle. And the first thing that gets canceled, because what happens is when it gets to 180 degrees out of phase with the majority of the signal, it starts to phase cancel, and it starts phase canceling from the top. So what happens then is if it takes the top off, then you're left with this bottom, and you start to sound muddy. So you go from sounding great to sounding muddy, depending on how much blow-by is being reflected at a slightly different time schedule. So what I suggest is maybe if you rolled off a little bit of that bottom end that kept the bottom end from overtaking the top end when the top end gets canceled, you would probably be in a better shape to stay in a legible audio situation. So I would suggest maybe two clicks off the bottom end and see where that goes. Roger?
Okay, KC9VKV. This has the parametric equalizer. I have it at 200. The first one is a 200 hertz and minus 10 bandwidth of 2. So should I be making that wider or a larger bandwidth?
I would go to 100 cycles, and I would do a medium bandwidth. Actually, do you have shelving? Do you have shelving capabilities on the lower frequencies?
Okay, I'm not sure about the shelving. We just have EQ level. I have. Now we're back. We're now at 100, and I'm at a minus 10 on the level and a bandwidth of 2.
All right, come back and tell me about your antenna system again.
30-foot end-fed, it's about 33 feet, and 40-meter dipole, also around the same height, and a butternut HF9V.
All right, I would suggest if you have something in the 100 cycle range or 200 cycle range, I would go a minus 3. If you have something at 100 cycles, I would go minus 3 on that control. Roger?
Let me just, 100, let me just make one other adjustment. Okay, we're at 100 with the minus 3 at this point. 100 minus 3, and bandwidth is 2.
All right, give me something so I can see your audio on my, I have a frequency analyzer. So if you give me something, you sound still heavy a little bit, but I want to see where it is. Tell me about the best thing you like about your radio.
Okay, the best thing about the radio, it's built like a tank. I certainly enjoyed the display on it. Also, just enjoy using it in every way. I came from ICOM 7610, which was obviously an exceptional radio, and this one's just works a little differently, but I find it to be very enjoyable.
Roger. Do you have any controls below 100 cycles?
Well, yes, I think I could go down to probably 50.
No, I mean that are set in there now. Do you have any controllers below 100 cycles as it stands?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
So 100 cycles right now would be the bottom end of your EQ situation?
Let me try one other thing for you. Hold on.
I don't want you to change hardly anything except just right at the bottom end. If 100 cycles is the only control that you have in that area, then I would go ahead and just roll out like minus maybe 8 at 100 cycles, and let me hear what that sounds like.
Okay, we're at the 100, and 100 is the lowest it'll go. So let me just change the level.
I'm sorry, I was switching antennas. I didn't know if you were ended or not. I'm starting to get some propagation differences there. Come back and let me hear you for a minute.
Okay, we're at the 100, which is the lowest I can go, and this is now a minus 8 for 100.
Okay, then the next one up from 100, what is that?
Next one we have is at 900. They have that at a minus 6 and a 2 bandwidth.
So the next one up from 100 is 900?
Yes.
All right, I would roll 100 all the way out. I would take it all the way out and just make that low frequency roll out there. Did your mic have a low roll switch?
A scoop switch on this thing, which I don't really recall. It was supposed to scoop out, I don't know, bass drum sound, so it does notch it out, I think, maybe around 400.
Is that easy to engage that switch?
Yes, the switch is now engaged, and now the switch is off,
I only noticed just a very slight difference there, not enough to even switch the switch. So you're rolled minus totally on your 100 cycles, Roger?
When you say you rolled off totally, do you mean just to cancel it out, or rolled up to the maximum it'll do?
Negative, minus whatever it can go. The furthest minus level that you can adjust that 100 cycle control.
Okay, this now, the 100 cycles is minus 10.
I think you're sounding better there. When you visit YouTube and check your audio out, you'll hear what I'm trying to do there, and you can hear the difference between when we began and when we ended. I'm right now. I have an input select indicator on my screen down on the lower right of my YouTube video screen, and you can see when I'm switching between the 7300 and the 990, and you can see when I switch to other SDRs. I'll tell you that in the IC 7300 has a really extended low end when you're in filter 1. Filter 1 is like not filtered, but I guess they call it a filter, but it has extremely good frequency response down to, it looks like about 50 cycles or 75 cycles, much extended lower end than my 990, and I've EQ'd my 990 to be very flat from 100 to 3 or in excess of 3. So anyway, go to YouTube and check out our QSO-VLOG network and see what you think, Roger.
Okay, very good, Jim. Thank you. Didn't want to take up this much time. We'll just let you get on with some other people. KC9VKV 73, and thank you again for your help.
Roger. And that was on the 7300. You had a really good signal that time, and you still have your bass, but it's not overpowering. And even if you lost some of your top, you would still have a very balanced signal. So 3's to you, sir. And you have a great afternoon and a beautiful weekend, Bob. And maybe if you get a chance, drop back by next Friday and let me know what you think about the EQ that we're working on.
I will do that for sure. We'll watch a lot of your vlogs. So thanks again, 73 and 3 GKV clear.
Roger, 3's that way, sir. This is KC9VKV, and this is the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. If you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout.
Victor Echo 3, Papa Charlie, Papa Mobile, Papa Charlie, Papa Mobile.
Papa Charlie station, come back with the call sign again, please.
Yeah, very good afternoon, Jim. It's Victor Echo 3, Papa Charlie, Papa Mobile. The name is Rob, and we are on our way home from work like every other Friday afternoon.
Roger. And every time I'm going to want to copy you on Milford, and Milford is taking a siesta. I don't know what that is, but I guess I got kicked off. I don't have a password for Milford. I should try to get one, but let me see if I can get to that. If not Milford, then I'll go to Rochester. But Milford is probably the better one. Let's see. Oh, I can get in. All right. That's wonders never cease. The more I talk about SDRs, the more folks use them. And it's self-defeating because then I can't get in. All right. Come back and let me try you there.
Yeah, okay, very good, Jim. Victor Echo 3, Papa Charlie, Papa Mobile. I took your lead there, and I made up a crisper for this tie clip microphone, and I used some heat shrink tubing around it, and used a ballpoint, the shank of a ballpoint pen on top of the tie tack end of the electret cartilage, repeater, and shrunk it down so I've got about a 1/4-inch diameter port going into the opening on the electric cartilage now. So I did some checks at home on my home radio, and it seemed to increase the top end. So just wanted to check with you and see what it is. Sounds like from your end. V3 PCP mobile.
Roger, Rob. I'd really like that. Of course I would, but it has a cut to it that you would have to use the EQ to get that same bite. This way you get it normally, Roger.
Yeah, QSO. Well, the tie clip microphone is about 1/2 inch or so in diameter, the case of it. So I used as I said, a heat shrink tubing, and then I used the shank of a pen in the other end of it when I did the heat shrink on the tube. So the entry tube into the end of the electret microphone now is about a 1/4-inch diameter and probably a 1/2 inch or so long. So that will certainly dissuade the lower frequencies from occupying that space so much as the high frequencies, QSO.
Roger. Now, exactly where are you? It's down to the mile marker.
I am on Bruce County Road 20, about 5 or 6 kilometers west of 9 and Midwest Highway number 9 in Eastern Ontario, QSO.
Roger. Well, you're doing Milford at about a 10 over, so you're doing a great job. That mobile's really sounding good. Let me say 3's to you. If you get a chance, join us next Friday, Roger.
Yeah, very good. Well, thank you very much. I'll listen to how this sounds, and thank you very much for being there and doing what you're doing. The 3CCP mobile.
Roger, Rob 3's that way, sir. Have a great afternoon and a beautiful weekend. This is KC9VKV and the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give us a shout.
Kilo India 4, Yankee Tango Victor.
Yankee Tango Victor. Come back with the call sign again, please.
Yeah, sure. This is KI4YTV. Yeah, I wouldn't mind some help adjusting this new ICOM I got.
Roger. What is that, a 7300?
Yeah, it had really punky output, and I went into the menu and I turned the turn the power up, and now it's, I see no need for that mod that they were showing on there. This worked perfectly.
Roger, so you just went and turned up the power to 100%?
Turned up the power to 100%?
Yeah, well, you know, originally on sideband, I'm running my amp now, but originally on sideband, it was like 45 watts. I mean, if you whistled, it'd do 100, but, you know, like regular talking, it was just punky, and I was like, this is terrible.
Yeah, and so you made the modification or no?
You made the modification or no?
I just made a shunt jack, put it in the back of the radio, and went into the service menu and turned the 100% power up to up, so it, you know, it was stronger, and you know, on the watt meter, and then I was done.
Roger, well, if you're running an amp, then you're running, are you running an amp?
Are you running an amp?
Yeah, I'm running an amp in the amp like my 751 was. But anyway, how is the audio? Should I adjust the compression or the mic gain or the bass or treble?
All right, let's start from the top. Engage your compressor at a 3. Engage that compressor at a 3. Roger, roger.
Okay, I'm at 3. I was on 2.
All right, you're on 3 now?
Yeah.
All right, now go to your ALC, and with a mic gain in hand, adjust your ALC for mid-scale to 2/3. Turn that mic gain to where you're talking normally, not like you're setting a level test 1, 2, 3, but just like you're talking like normal, and just kind of look up and adjust that mic gain to where your ALC is running mid-scale to 2/3.
All right, let's see. We'll run it. It's at okay. Back it down. That's probably about, well, yeah, that's about right? Really, 50%? You think 50%'s good?
Mid-scale to 2/3. The book calls for a third, 30%. I call for 50 to 66%. Now, again, don't go like that, because that's not how your decibels work. Just speak at a fairly normal rate, so the meter doesn't fall down between words, but so you have to speak kind of, you know, slightly accelerated, but not a bunch so, but just that way, and then adjust that mic gain to where you're more than 50%, but less than 75%.
I put it on 66, and I am a loud talker.
Nothing to do with the talking. It's just that you want, and it doesn't matter what your mic gain is that it says it is. It's what its relationship to your ALC is, and so you want to adjust your mic gain to where your ALC is running mid-scale to 2/3. Roger.
Okay. It's pretty pumping up there right now, and I can adjust it back. And of course, I'm pretty loud, so I don't know. I'm going way back now. 2/3 is like 22%, or maybe 25%. 25%.
I don't know where these other numbers are coming from. Adjust your ALC for mid-scale to 2/3. Roger?
Yeah, that's what I did right there. It's 25%.
All right. And EQ, what mic are you using, sir?
Stock mic.
All right. You should be +3, -1.
+3, -1 on my treble.
+3 on your treble, -1 on your bass. Let's see what it sounds like there.
+1 on my bass and +3 on my treble, you're saying?
It goes 0 on your bass, just flat on your bass, +3 on the top.
Okay, that's 0 on my bass, +3 on the treble.
All right, come up 1 click on the bottom end.
On the bass?
Yes, sir. Your bass EQ, 1 click push.
Okay, that's +1.
And make sure your width is 100 to 2900. I'm assuming that's what it is.
No, it's not.
What is your width, sir?
No, I'm saying his width isn't, obviously.
I'm asking him, sir. What is his width? What is your width, sir?
Well, let me get this call here.
Oh,
what I do?
I'm confusing you, but I can tell you right away he's narrow.
Yeah, it sounded like he might have been, but I usually like to try to get the operator to tell me what he's doing if he knows. If he doesn't, then he's susceptible to getting advice. But as long as he's participating, I'm trying to help him along.
Okay, I think I'm on mid on my settings, but I got my bass on +1 and my treble on +3. Roger.
All right, on your bandwidth, you want to be 100 to 2900. There's 3 places to set that, and you want to be 100 to 2900, and that's the way you want to run that radio. You don't want to play games with it. Just run it at 100 to 2900.
On mid?
On everything. There's 3 places to set that, and you should set them all to 100 to 2900.
Okay. 100 to 2900.
Presto.
Okay, that's mid. Wide was already on. I got to go down. Narrow. Okay, 100 to 2900. Even the narrow, huh?
Yes. So now you're 100 to 29, and thank you, other station there. So let me tell me about your antenna for about 10 or 15 seconds. Let me hear you.
Oh, I got a couple antennas. What am I using right now? I'm using my full 560-foot loop, and I also have a vertical.
All right, on that microphone, what you want to do, you don't want to talk into it. You want to talk past it, across it. You bring it to your mouth, to the corner of your mouth, and talk across it, Roger?
Okay, we'll try that. How's that sound to you?
A lot better, because you pick up a lot of transients and mouth noise when you work directly into it. So never work directly into it. Always work it to the side of your mouth. Roger?
Okay. Well, I guess maybe that's that. I think I got it on the main menu. I think I'm on narrow. I'm not sure.
You don't want to be on narrow, sir. You want to be narrow should be 100 to 2900.
I'm on mid.
All 3 of those readings should be 100 to 2900. Now you're going to force me to get my 7300 cheat sheet out.
Contact.
Go ahead, contact.
Yeah, let me just interject my 2 cents. Here are my recommendations for him. I understand why you're telling him to put on 100-2900 on all of them, so no matter what he's on, he'll be wide. I kind of disagree with that, but for the time being, that's okay. As long as he is transmitting 100-2900, and the hand mic, his bass setting should be about -1. His treble should be +2, no more, because then it sounds crummy. And his compression should be on 1. -1 on the bass, +2 on the treble, 1 on the compression, and go to the races.
I agree with you to some extent, but -1 on the bass is correct, and about probably +2 or 3 on the top end. On the treble control, +2 or 3, bottom end -1.
Yeah, but treble 3 starts to sound chintzy. And 1 on the compressor gives you nice, clean, average torque power without any distortion or compressed sound. Once it started going into the 2 and 3 range, you get the typical ICOM 7300 distortion at the top.
Thank you for your assistance, sir, but I usually recommend a 3. A 3 does not have any, you can't even hear a 3 as far as compression. It's very, very nominal. I appreciate your assistance, sir.
That's okay. Well, we all have our education, you know. But anyway, have a good day.
Roger, thank you, sir. All right, and now we were talking about the setup there. Where are you now, sir?
G Audio. I net control a lot. You've talked to me before. I just got this ICOM for a trade for doing some tower work. And a big issue I had was the torque power was low, and I was looking, the average, and I went and looked online, and they were talking about soldering a capacitor in there and all this, and then I went in the adjustment menu and turned it up, and now it's working 100%.
Roger, sounds good, and your EQ is nice. You don't have a bunch of bottom end, but what you do have is QSO possible, and so I think you have an EQ that can go contest or QSO. Roger.
Yeah, it seems pretty good. You think the mic gain this low though, 25% is good?
As a relationship to your ALC, if your ALC is running mid-scale to 2/3, your mic gain is correct.
Wow, I never had it. Then I put the mic gain that low. I'd usually crank. Whoop, that's compressor. Sorry about that. I usually would have the thing about right about there.
Yeah, but the thing is, see, you probably weren't working your mic exactly the way you are now. To the side of your lips will maybe give you more gain than the way you were working it before. But you need to work that microphone to the side across it, Roger.
Well, am I overdriving it now?
Again, let me listen to you. And you should be looking at your ALC. Don't depend on me to tell you what it is. Your ALC will tell you better than your best friend. You want to run that ALC mid-scale to 2/3.
Like peaking it. It looks like it's pretty good at 70%. If I'm not overdriving it, I'd be happy here.
Sounds good here.
Okay, well, thanks for the check. This is KI4YTV, and I'll watch and listen on YouTube. And now I know I turned it up to 70%, and when I watch the video you posted in a little while, I'll be able to tell. But I'm real happy I fixed the hour of power.
Roger, but you weren't working on the side of it. You were working back into the middle of it, that last transmission, because you had a lot of mouth noise. Work it to the side of your lips or across it.
Okay, Roger. This is KI4YTV.
Roger. Thank you. Threes to you, sir. Have a great weekend. And if you get a chance to join us next Friday, we'd love to hear you. This is KC9VKV and the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give us a shout.
Yeah, it's November 3, Whiskey Bravo 3.
November 3, Whiskey Bravo 3. Whiskey Bravo, is that correct?
Yeah, November 3, Whiskey Bravo Sierra.
Roger, sir. And where are you located, sir?
We're located in a little town called Fettlesburg on the eastern shore of Maryland. Name is Chuck. Charlie Hotel, Uniform Charlie Kilo.
Roger, Chuck. And what you know today?
Say again?
What do you know today, sir, for sure?
I don't know. I know it's a good day, and I know it's cold out there, and I know I'm going to be glad when the wind stops blowing around here.
Roger. Is that my Elmer out there? Pardon me, Chuck, just for a moment. My Elmer's trying to get to me, and he's giving me about a 1 under protest. Lou, is that you? Give me a bottle of bourbon. Set aside a bottle of bourbon after the show. I'll meet you, and we'll take care of the problems, Roger. A case of Rip Van Winkle sounds good to me. All right, Elmer. Threes to you. You weren't even giving me a 1. You're giving me a 0.5, Roger. All right. Well, I am copying you in Arlington. That's the only place I'm copying you. I don't copy you local. I don't copy you on Rochester, Milford, or Atlanta, but I do copy you on Arlington, Roger.
Rochester, Milford, or Atlanta, but I do copy you on Arlington, Roger.
Roger. Catch you later, sir. Threes. And back to you there, Chuck.
Catch you later, sir. Threes. And
going to get a pair of 4-1.
Yeah, where'd you go, Chuck? I'm not copying you.
I'm not copying you.
Copy?
Try again. I copied just a little bit there. Give me another shout.
Whiskey, Bravo, Sierra.
Roger, Roger. Well, we're getting a little propagation ups and downs. I copied you a little bit there. Gosh, let me hear your antenna situation. Tell me about that for about 10 seconds.
All right, Mosley PA33 mic with the KR40 location at 55 feet there, over.
Roger, Roger. Okay, set up, if you get that compressor on a 3. Compressor on a 3, Roger.
Yeah, QSL. The rig here is the old TS 520 Sugar at 110 watts.
All right, and your ALC is running mid-scale to 2/3, Roger?
Yeah, let me look at it. Well, actually, ALC is a little high. I got to turn it down a little bit. Here, let me turn my gain down there. There we go. ALC should be about right there. How's that sound?
Roger, I think your EQ will fly, so if you want to hear what your radio sounds like, go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. That will bring up our QSO-VLOG page, and on that page we're running about 900 some odd QSO-VLOGs at the moment, but you'll be looking for one specifically entitled My Group Aircheck 11720. My Group Aircheck 11720. Roger?
Yeah, QSL, and by the way, your report is 59 plus 20.
59 plus what?
Plus 20.
Yes, sir. Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that. You have a really good day, a great weekend, and if you get a chance, check back with us next Friday. We run from 3:30 till 5 and record all the way. Roger?
Yeah, QSL, okay, thanks for picking me up there, and have yourself a good weekend. And then join Ham Radio here today. This is M3 WBS 73.
Roger. And Chuck, did you say you were in Maryland?
Yeah, QSL on the Eastern Shore.
For some reason, I can only make Mary. I made Mary that time. The other time, the guy was in Maryland, I got Mar. So I'm getting better. And what was the model number of your radio, sir?
Tango Sugar 520F. TS 520 Sugar.
Tom Sierra?
Tango Sugar 520F.
Roger, Roger. Three's that way, Chuck. Have a great afternoon, a great weekend. This is KC9VKV and the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. We run from now until 5, recording all the way, and then we post it up on YouTube. So if you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout.
K4 Papa 4 Charlie Zulu. KP4 Charlie Zulu.
KP4 Charlie something?
It's Kilo Papa 4 Charlie Zulu. My name is Jose. Over.
Roger, Jose. Where are you located, sir?
I'm in beautiful Chesterfield, Virginia. I don't know if you're local. I was just browsing the band, and you have a beautiful signal, beautiful audio over here. And I think this is the first time that I check it in with you. And I believe it's Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, if I'm not mistaken. Go ahead.
Roger. That is correct. And what was your name again, please?
My name is Jose, Juliet Oscar Sierra Echo, and I'm stationed here in Chesterfield, Virginia. Over.
Roger, Jose. Well, looking at your signal, I'm looking at your signal on a spectrum analyzer, and you look to be maybe just a tad hot on the bottom end. You know, the problem with EQ is that if we get fat in the bottom end, and Mother Nature plays games with phase angles, and we start to roll off some of the top, then all that bottom stays the same. So suddenly, instead of a nice signal, we're kind of muddy. So I would recommend maybe a couple of clicks down on EQ on your bass at about 100 cycles would be a good place to try to tune down some of the bass just a tad, you know.
Yes, you're right. Well, I'm not running a kilowatt right now. I'm only running 100 watts. Usually when I'm running a kilowatt, that take care of that sounds much better, and you can appreciate the the hi-fi audio. But I'm just running a 7300, 100 watts off-center fed antenna, and I was just browsing the band, and I hear you guys in here. Ain't no problem. I just gotta go to the menu and turn it down. I got both levels. 5 plus 5. I don't have the problem that the other gentleman had on the with the 7300. I get good audio report, but I'm not, like I said, I'm not running the other stuff right now. So maybe that's why you hear that bottom end too high, because I was just messing around a little bit. But thank you for receiving me, and enjoy the net. And I'm just keep here listening to you guys. I'm working on the DMR radio, and I was trying to get some code plugs done, and I just want to see if you can copy me, because I was know you was local here in Virginia. KC9 Victor Kilo Victor, this is Kilo Papa 4 Charlie Zulu, over.
Roger, Jose. Well, the thing is, more and more 7300s are really becoming prolific, and the 7300 has a very extended low-frequency response, particularly in filter 1 in receive, which is no filter as near as I can tell. It has a frequency response all the way down to below 100 cycles. So if you are running that heavy, you'll hear it if you check out your audio, because I was using the 7300 at the time to copy the mail. So if you want to hear actually what your radio sounds like, if you go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page. We're running about 900 some odd QSO-VLOG Airchecks at the moment, but you'll be looking for one in specific. It's my group Aircheck 11720, today's date. My group Aircheck 11720. We record live from 3:30 till 5. Roger?
Roger. Thank you very much. But are you located in Virginia as well?
No, I'm in next to Louisville. I'm just across the Ohio River from Louisville, Kentucky, in Indiana. Roger?
Roger. Yeah, the propagation is helping a lot, because I was copying you 15, now you 20 plus good signal over here in Chesterfield, Virginia. Okay, no problem. Well, you have a good day, and back to you, and say hello to everybody listening. So KP4 Charlie Zulu clear, 73. Enjoy the band.
Roger, Jose, the call was KP4. What was the rest?
It's Kilo Papa 4 Charlie Zulu. KP4 Charlie Zulu, over.
Roger. And you might think about a windscreen, a foam windscreen for that mic, because I did hear, since you do have the extended bottom end, you are susceptible to plosives, transmitting plosives, unless you filter those out with a foam windscreen on your mic. Roger.
Roger.
So three-side way, Jose, thanks for checking in, and if you get a chance, join us next Friday, and we'll compare notes, see what you've been up to. This is KC9VKV in the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. If you've got a radio you want to check out, give us a shout.
K4HEW.
K4 something?
K4HEW, Hotel Echo Whiskey, Roger.
Roger that. What's the name, sir?
The name here is Joe, Juliet Oscar Echo, and we're located in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Roger. And what radio are you running, sir?
This is the ICOM 7300, flat-footed at 100 watts, and we're in a motorhome with a vertical antenna.
Roger that. Now, are you using the stock mic or no?
Yes, stock mic, and I've got a little bit of a windsock over it, and kind of use it on the corner of my mouth, and just wondering how it's sounding these days.
Roger. You do have a bunch of bottom end. I would maybe think about not running quite so heavy on the bottom, maybe a one-click roll, and see what that sounds like. What are your EQ curves at the moment? What's your EQ?
EQ is right at mid-range, and the bottom end is set at a +2, and the treble is set at a +2. So they've been rolled down from a 3 or a 4 because it did get too bassy. Roger.
Roger. I would roll one more. I would roll just a +1. Normally, with that hand mic, 0 EQ on the bottom end. If you work it to the side of your mouth, which you obviously are doing a good job because I don't hear any plosives, Roger.
Roger that. Well, I did roll a one number off of the bottom end. Is that any better?
Yes, sir. I like that a lot better. And you're at what, +2, +3 at the top?
+2.
Yeah, you could go to +3. It gives you just a little more edge on the S's, a little more articulated audio. When you have, you do have a lot of bottom end, but it's not too much, provided you don't lose a lot off the top through phase cancellation, and you can help ensure that by adding just another click on the top end, Roger.
Okay, I did that. It's at a +3, and the bottom end's at a +1, and I'll be anxious to see how that sounds, Jim.
Yes, sir. It sounds really good to me. I'm copying the mail pretty much anymore. Just on the 7300. I haven't been searching around. I usually go back and forth between my 990 and the 7300, but I'm right now running the 7300 in unfiltered, what do they call that? Unfiltered 1 position, which is, I think that's just flat. I don't hear any EQ actually happening there, Roger.
Roger that. And your signal, my gosh, you're throwing fireballs over this way at between 20 and 30 over. Very strong signal.
Yes, sir. We do have a little hot spot there in North Carolina. We set up the antennas so that we would be able to cover the East Coast from Montreal to Miami, but we do have a little hot spot there in the Carolinas, Roger.
Mr. Hinkle has a case of Rip Van Winkle, and he's meeting him at 5 o'clock, I've been advised.
Yeah, Lou, I don't think I'll be able to do that today because I do have appointments over at my in-laws. But first day, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, somewhere in there, we would definitely get together and split a bottle of Muscatel or whatever it is you have.
He's 550 feet above sea level on emergency. I'm on 7,300. I don't know what he's on because I sent over a new 7,300 for him to play with. So I'm running 100 watts. He's running 1,000 watts. He can barely hear me, and it's amazing. But I've 4-1000s up here in a full-wave loop very, very soon.
All right, so you have to check out my Aircheck here, Lou. I've got that visual input source selector, so you can see where I have dialed up the inputs to my audio, and you can see on my local 7300 and local 990. Practically no copy, but you were making it to Arlington, Virginia, and Rochester, New York. Roger?
Rochester, New York. Roger? Roger. I will bring up an AL80B this week so that at least I have a kilowatt to put some fire in the water out there. It's amazing. Here we are. And I'm at 1,050 and you're at 6,550. The other day when we had Terry in there, he was up here at the farm, real close to me, about 3 miles.
Joe, stand by.
100 watts on a
Joe, stand by.
80-meter full-wave loop. I had a 10 on him with 100 watts on me. He had a 10 on me, but I couldn't hear him at all. So, pretty unique situation. In 73 Gall, and yes, the 4x1 just sitting up here. I just got to run the 220 to it. I'll catch you guys later. Y'all have a good one. And the other gentleman didn't catch your name. My name is Lou. How do you do? I'm on 7,300 as well. I wish they were available 40 years ago.
Lou, good to be listening to you. This is Joe, K4HEW.
There, let's see here. Let me get back under control here. Joe, you still have a copy? Yeah, K4KEW, do you still have a copy?
Yeah, K4HEW, Hotel Echo Whiskey. Roger.
Roger, Joe. It is Joe, Roger.
Yeah, that is correct. Roger that.
I'm starting to work on me here after 3:30, from 3:30 till now. It's been one of those days, Joe.
You're preaching to the choir. I had to drive 100 miles this morning and train a group of people on forklifts. Just got home and my brain is about done too. It's Friday night.
Roger. Well, let me say threes to you, Joe. I think you sound great, and if you want to check it out, go to YouTube and do a call letter search for Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor. That will take you to the QSO-VLOG page, and you'll be looking for my group Aircheck 11730. My group Aircheck 11730. Roger.
11730, 30 or 20?
I'm sorry. 11720.
That's what I thought I heard.
Yeah, that's what I wish I would have said.
73 is my friend. Good talking to you, and I sure will check that out. Thanks for listening. It's K4HEW.
Roger, Joe, 3 Zetway, sir. This is the KC9VKV. We're winding down towards the end of today, where we become, I forgot what we said we'd become at 5 o'clock, but we're headed that way. We got about 10 minutes, so if you want to get in here and get an air check, give me a shout. KC9VKV listening.
November 6, Victor, Mexico, stroke 4.
There was a number 6 something. Come back with the call sign again.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. This is November 6th, VXM Victor X-Ray Mike. Name is Arnie, located in South Carolina.
Roger, Arnie, and what radio are you running, sir?
Yes, sir. We're using the ICOM 7300, going barefoot and going into a homebrew. Now in our attic, we're using an inside antenna, over.
Well, you're getting out pretty well for an inboard antenna, Roger.
Roger, that's what I'm trying to check on right now, and you're the strongest station on the frequency, so we thought we'd give you a shout and see how it's working.
Roger, are you using the hand mic?
Roger, using just the hand mic. I do have a high-old boom mic, but I'm just using the stock mic with it, over.
Okay, I would recommend dropping a couple of clicks on the bottom end. On the bass end, I would roll off 2 more on the EQ from where you are. Roger?
Okay, Roger, I just dropped it down. Is this any better, over?
Okay, I think so. You're starting to get propagated out of here. You dropped about 10 dB signal strength, but come back and try it again, sir.
Here, Roger, you just boosted up about 10, so we'll see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is N6 of VXM, over.
Roger, Arnie, and what's your location is North Carolina, Roger?
Okay, we are located about 3 miles from Hilton Head Island in a place called Bluffton, South Carolina, over.
Roger, Arnie, you got that, and you're running the 7300, right?
Yes, sir. 7300, and it is barefoot, over.
Roger, okay, copying you at about maybe 8 dB above my noise level. My RF front end is so low I can't really give you an S meter reading, but I do have you located at 0 on a VU meter. When you cease speaking, it shows my noise level, and so you are about 7 to 8 dB above my noise level. Roger?
Roger, I'm looking at I have a high noise level right now, about S8, S9. For some reason it just picked up on me, but you are hitting me with a 9+, over.
Roger. All right. Thanks so much for checking in, and check out your audio on YouTube by doing that call letter search, KC9VKV, and then look for my group Aircheck 11720. 11720, Roger.
I thank you for your service. It sounds great, and I'm glad to know that you're out there with us, over.
Roger, Arnie. 3 Zetway, sir. You have a real good afternoon.
Roger. N6 of VXM 73.
This is KC9VKV, the Friday afternoon QSO-VLOG network. 5 minutes to go. If you want to get an air check in, give me a shout. KC9VKV listening.
Bravo Alpha.
Kilo Charlie 3, was that Alpha something?
Kilo
Charlie 3, Oscar Bravo Alpha, over.
Oscar Bravo Alpha, roger.
Roger that.
All right, whereabouts are you, sir? What's your name?
Name here is Sean, Samuel Echo Alpha November, located in northeastern Pennsylvania, Pocono Mountains, about a 90-minute drive from New York City, over.
All right, you're giving me a 10 over my noise level. Beautiful signal. I'm copying you on twin 10-foot magnetic loop antennas. Roger?
Yeah, roger that. Got you a solid 5.8 this direction, 5.8, over.
Roger that. Roger that. And your radio is what?
Yet another 7300, 7300. Real basic setup, relatively new ham. Running the regular hand mic into an inverted B dipole.
All right, you might be just, well, let me go through the setup there. Engage your compressor at a 3. Turn your compressor on and run it at about a 3.
At a 3 now. 3 now, over.
All right, then bring up your ALC and adjust your mic level to where your ALC is running mid-scale to 2/3. Roger?
I'm going to look for some buttons here. I'll stand by one moment. Okay, roger that, roger that. Looks like ALC is running right in the middle of the range, top end, just at the end of the red, over.
Oh, roger. Well, you probably want to back off just a little bit more. You don't want to be all the way out there. You want to be a mid-scale to 2/3, roger.
Yeah, roger that. Any better now, over?
Yeah, it looks good. You're starting to get some propagation deficiencies, but that sounds pretty good. Tell me about your antenna system.
Yeah, run for 20 meters. Running that through a Versa tune to get you down here on 40. Because the inboard tune on the 7300 wasn't doing all that well. Sitting here at about 1,700 feet of sea level. The antenna itself sits about 35 feet up. Though I put it up in a hurry, I do have to move it. I'm straddling a electric service for the house, so quite a noise floor here. But inverted B dipole, over.
Roger that. Roger that. Signals drop down to just 5 dB over my noise level, but I'm copying you really good. Your EQ sounds perfect, Roger.
Oh, roger that. Great to hear it. Yeah, I'll have to check out that YouTube page. Much appreciate the info and the there.
Roger, Sean. Well, 3's to you, sir. Thanks for checking in. Have a great weekend, Roger.
Yeah, roger that. Roger that.
And I've lost you altogether now, Sean, so 3's there, and have a great weekend. Thanks for checking in, and if you get a chance, join us next Friday, 3:30 till 5. We record live. This is KC9VKV, the QSO-VLOG network. We've got about 3 minutes till 5, 2.5 minutes. Anybody want a last-minute air check? Come ahead.
Echo United.
Echo United station, come back with a call sign.
KC9VKV from Victor, Echo 3, Mike, Echo Uniform.
Roger, roger. And what's the name there?
The name here is Mike.
And whereabouts in Canada are you, sir?
Just south of Toronto in a town called Hamilton.
Roger, roger. Sounding mighty good. What radio are you running?
It's actually just an old FT101 Echo and an old harmonica microphone from the 50s. And that's just about it, barefoot, into a end-fed halfway for 160.
Roger, you're giving me 10 over. Audio is very good. And that mic is what mic?
It's the Armico Model 131.
Roger, that's a dynamic, Roger?
Roger.
All right, sounds great. Sounds great. Is that what's the vintage on that radio? Is that a new radio?
No. From the 76, I believe it was, according to the serial number. FT101E.
Oh, Roger, come back with the. Let's see. When I get to this point in this program, I'm out of my bounds as far as writing in sequence and all that stuff. So I start putting it where I can get the call signs. So I've got you now, and give me that radio one more time.
SE-101E, Fox Tango 101 Echo.
All right, sounded like you might have been slightly off frequency that time. Come back and talk to me for just a minute.
I do believe it's the relay sticking on this old radio. I just got it really hot here in the shack, and I think I may have to do some cleaning, Jim.
Roger. That sounded all right that time, Roger.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much. I usually I get to talk to you at about this point in time of your QSO-VLOG, and I do appreciate your service, and I hope the others do as well. KC9VKV, always a pleasure from Ontario, Canada. This is Victor Echo 3, Mike Echo Uniform.
Roger, Mike 3 is that way, so you have a great weekend. Join us next Friday. And with that will conclude. Let me see here. I have an official closing now. I had a lot of things scheduled that I was going to do, but when you get right in the thick of the thing, it's really tough to do anything but what do they call bail? Like when you're in a boat. Sometimes you have a lot of things planned, but it becomes more important to bail than anything else. So I'm looking for my official close, and obviously I can't find it. So let me just say we've had a good time this afternoon from 3:30 till 5, and hope you have also. And remember to go to YouTube and check out your recording, so you can see what's happening with your radio, and listen to other people's radios and see if you like their radios sounds better than yours, or you like yours better than theirs. And gosh, hey, I found the close. Let me do this, otherwise I'll have spent all that effort for nothing. Well, it's time to wrap up our QSO-VLOG network for today. My name is Jim, KC9VKV, and since 3:30 we've been recording live. So if you have participated, we want to check out your audio and see what it sounds like. Just go to YouTube and do a call letter search for KC9VKV, and that will take you to our QSO-VLOG page, where we're now running about 900 or so QSO-VLOG air checks. But you'll be looking for a specific air check called My Group Aircheck 11720. My Group Aircheck 11720. Please give us a couple of days to get it uploaded to YouTube. And just a reminder, we are on the QSO-VLOG network each Friday afternoon from 3:30 till 5 p.m. Eastern on this frequency 7188. So here's a big thanks to all who participated, and we'll see you next Friday afternoon at 3:30. This is KC9VKV, and we now return this frequency back to normal amateur use. KC9VKV clear. Thank you.
23, Jim, 10 over 9 in Milwaukee.
Thanks for the 10 over in Milwaukee.
Fine job, Jim. Thank you. K4HEW.
KB6WJA, Irmo.
Thank you, guys. We'll catch you next Friday, 3s.